in charge of a star. Too damn petty, a jealous coach. Your first statement is to throw shade at CC, and you got Stephanie White acting like this was Game 7 of the WNBA of the WNBA. I get it. I get it. People are fed up, man. People just aren't happy. Organization, get bent, clowns. Woo! Yay, the coach of the year. You beat the Aces without A'ja Wilson. Hooray. I'm got to tell you, Caitlin Clark fans not having it. Steph looks so excited, her blessing in disguise. You got Stephanie White acting like this was the stupid bowl. It was the stupid bowl.
Caitlin Clark and A'ja Wilson both out on the same night, and the timing alone has this whole fan base spiraling. Because there's already a boycott movement brewing among Clark fans, and it didn't start today, it started with Stephanie White. This isn't some random coincidence people are inventing out of thin air either. Fans have been vocal for weeks that they don't trust how this front office is handling their franchise player. And every new absence just pours gasoline on that fire.
Oh, so you mean the team that's had to play their ass off the previous week and just went to overtime got tired as the game went on and started shooting poorly? No shit, Stephanie White.
Game in the 40s. And third quarter, 26-14. We came out of the game.
Clark got insulted by the whole officiating conversation all season, and now she's straight up injured. And yeah, this is eerily similar to last year's collapse. The pattern people are pointing to isn't paranoia, it's just pattern recognition. Insult, injury, absence, repeat. When you've watched this exact cycle play out once already, you don't need a conspiracy theory to be worried it's happening again.
And you could tell Becky Hammon was like, nah, I don't care about this game. You could tell she didn't care about this game. You got Stephanie White acting like this was the stupid bowl. It was the stupid bowl. This was her championship game.
We're basically sitting right at the one-year anniversary of Clark's final game from the 2025 season. And that timing is not lost on anybody paying attention. So let's play devil's advocate here for a second. Is it possible her time with Indiana is genuinely running thin? I'm not saying it's confirmed. I'm saying the theory exists for a reason, and dismissing it outright ignores how much tension has built up around this exact roster all season.
It's about that time. You see, the Indiana Fever had not played a game since June 27th. They went a week and a day. In case you're wondering, that's 8 days. Until they got to another game. Let's just start here, shall we? Let's start with the Aces schedule. They played on June 28th, they played on June 30th, and then went to overtime to beat the Sky.
Here's the wilder theory going around. What if a trade's already been quietly worked out? Or what if Clark has essentially decided if the league won't protect her from these hits, she's just going to sit some of these out the way she did last season? I actually think this take doesn't hold up against what Clark herself has said publicly. She's talked about targeting a return during Indiana's upcoming road trip, and said she's feeling a lot better, which is a very different tone than someone who's checked out. But I get why fans are grasping for an explanation after everything this season's already put them through.
Like, yeah, but you bench her, and that's when the team fucking collapses. And by the way, she's about to have a big she's having her O right here. Big old O glazing over last night's victory with no A'ja Wilson. Caitlin Clark fans not amused. Not amused. IDX Texas, that is straight up Caitlin Clark shade. Amen, brother. Amen. We notice how much.
And then there's the litmus test everybody's watching for. If Clark plays in the All-Star game, that tells you she's finishing the season out. If she sits that one too, get ready. Because that's the real signal. I don't love turning an All-Star appearance into a referendum on her entire future with this team, but I understand why fans have landed on it as the one data point they can actually track.
Stephanie White is the worst coach in the WNBA by far. Even the coach works to undermine Caitlin Clark. It's a league mandate. I've tried to tell y'all this is all about agenda, and Stephanie White's leading the pack. Wilson didn't play. She's their entire team. There is nothing to celebrate. Oh, she's acting like this is game 7 of the WNBA Finals last night. Worst coach in the WNBA makes worst scripted post-game comments on the season.
Nobody actually knows what's happening behind the scenes with Clark and this organization, and that's exactly the problem. She has to say the right things in front of the cameras, but none of us are in that locker room. That gap between the public performance and the private reality is where every single one of these theories is being born, and until the Fever get more transparent, that vacuum is just going to keep filling up with speculation.
And you could tell Becky Hammon was like, nah, I don't care about this game. You could tell she didn't care about this game. You got Stephanie White acting like this was the stupid bowl. It was the stupor bowl. This was her championship game. A'ja Wilson didn't play. A'ja was 4-time MVP, 3-time WNBA champ, 5-time block champ, 5 times all defensive, 6-time all WNBA.
Now here's where I have to say I told you so. Everybody clowned this bench conspiracy talk last time out, but go back and watch the film. Clark went to the tunnel twice during that game, and the second time she never came back. That's not a benching, that's an injury. And the fact that nobody from this organization has corrected the record on that tells you they're either sloppy with communication or they just don't feel like they owe fans an explanation. Either way, it's not a good look.
I'm really proud of you guys. That's a great win. It's a great effort.
Okay, so that's code word for Stephanie White coming out there and saying when Caitlin Clark's playing, you notice how the team collapses as you go further in the game? And it's like, yeah, but you bench her, and that's when the team fucking...
Fans in the comments are begging for actual clarity. Is this back injury chronic, or is it just this one incident? Because those are two very different conversations. And honestly, all I wanted this year was to watch Caitlin Clark play basketball. Pretty much sums up the exhaustion in this fan base right now. That's not an unreasonable ask, and the fact that it feels like too much to ask for says a lot about how this season's actually gone.
It's about that time. You see, the Indiana Fever had not played a game since June 27th. They went a week and a day. In case you're wondering, that's 8 days. Until they got to another game. Let's just start here, shall we? Let's start with the Aces schedule.
This is the take that's been gaining traction all season. If Stephanie White had pushed back harder on the officiating early, challenged more calls, actually advocated for her star player in real time instead of after the fact, maybe Clark isn't absorbing this many hits in the first place. Coach White's post-game comments about consistency in the officiating are real, and she said them publicly, but there's a fair question here about whether that frustration should have been voiced louder, sooner, and directly at the refs instead of the media.
Game 7. And they went out there and picked up this massive victory. And right out of the gate, by the way, let's not get confused. All superstars in basketball turn the ball over. That's a thing. LeBron James, Steph Curry, but the Caitlin Clark haters, this is the key. The Caitlin Clark haters, they love doing what? Pulling out that turnover card.
Some of these fan comments are brutal. I'm out, won't be watching this game, and it's on the coach for the Fever and this franchise. That kind of loyalty/frustration combo is exactly what's fueling this boycott energy, and whether you agree with it or not, it's real sentiment from a fan base that feels like their star isn't being protected.
Without Caitlin, better trader. See, your system runs better without Caitlin Clark. Better trader. I get it. I get it. People are fed up, man. People just aren't having it, and I get it. Fans want to watch what they.
The Iowa versus Indianapolis comparison here is honestly one of the more interesting takes in this whole video. Iowa is described as Caitlin Clark heaven, this whole other level energy, while Indy comes across as a city that adopted her, but loves the Fever and Stephanie White just as much. That distinction matters, because it tells you this fanbase's loyalty isn't unconditional the way people assume. There's real tension between, we love Caitlyn, and we're an Indiana sports town first.
Statement is to throw shade at CC, that you're proud of your slow-ass system getting a win, slow, low-scoring, non-entertaining, stagnant Metheny ball. By the way, Austin Kelly's offense, yeah, I said Austin Kelly's, not Stephanie White's. Austin Kelly's offense, scoring real points. Y'all threw up 84 last night.
And then you've got this comment nailing the actual basketball complaint. That Coach White's post-game outrage doesn't excuse leaving her star player exposed to unnecessary physical punishment on the court, game after game. Add in the fact that Aja Wilson is also out with an ankle injury on the exact same night, and yeah, it does look a little spooky having both of the league's biggest stars sidelined at once. Even if, more likely than not, that's just really bad timing colliding with a fan base that's already primed to see conspiracy everywhere.
Stephanie White, glazing. I mean, I'm pretty sure she had a big O here.
All right, y'all. Great job. Great job. We did a lot of great things. I'm sure this has to be a season low 7 turnovers. Wow. You take care of the ball, you give yourself a chance, right? 13 offensive rebounds. Extra possessions matter. We out-rebounded them 39-30. Really good stuff. First quarter, y'all, they shot 62%. By the second quarter, we had them down to 40%.